So welcome back. We are going to be discussing Operation Midnight Hammerhead. 7 bombers were part of that which took off. There were 14 bombs, 19 hours from takeoff to the strike. This was the dead of night and an entire nation of Iran was sleeping when the US stealth bombers pulled off this midnight strike. It was a hammer blow on Iran's nuclear ambitions with massive airstrikes on their 3 nuclear facilities, Natanz, Fordow and Isfahan. Now, the United States claims to have decimated all the 3 facilities, but the focus is on Fordow, one of the nuclear facilities in Iran that is believed to be out of reach of most of the militaries across the world, simply because of how deep under the ground has facility was situated. Now remember, state-of-the-art military equipment, and this includes the B-2 stealth bombers carrying GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, were being used on this operation, and the United States claims that it has completely obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. However, the United States says that it is still open for dialogue and hopes that Iran accepts their deal. But Tehran has made it very clear that the time for diplomacy is over. Watch this.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression.
So very interestingly, although there were repeated statements coming in from the United States that it's not about a regime change, you have President Trump now coming out and saying, MEGA, let's make Iran great again, and saying if there is a regime change, why not? Well, now, in fact, let's get you the satellite photographs which show Fordow, Natanz, as well as Isfahan nuclear sites in Iran before and after the US strikes. We are going to break it down for you so that you can see the 3 nuclear-related linked sites of Iran which were destroyed, decimated as per United States by their bunker busters. Let's start with the satellite images of Fordow fuel enrichment plant, which remember lies northeast of Qom, which gives a glimpse into the terrain as well in which the nuclear facility has been carved out. In fact, you can see in Fordow the kind of visuals which are coming in before and after. You can see the link, the long line of tanks which were seen. Well, many have said that on 19th of June, right before there were strikes by US, Iran had managed to successfully remove all of this away, the uranium away from these nuke facilities, and which is why today many of those in Iran are saying that there was no destruction to any of the uranium. Well, we'll have to wait and see. In fact, the pre-images also show a number of these vehicles that we are showing for you near the entry point. The most post which had come in of the image of the Fordow nuclear facility shows 2 places which could possibly have been bomb entry points. And you can see that there has been impact. You see from the 15th of June what it looked like as opposed to 22nd of June, all these areas which seem to have a clear point of impact of the American bunker busters which were used in Fordow. Well, it also shows the land that had caved inwards post the strike, whereas the tunnel entrances had been sealed with dirt. Now, there are also satellite images which appear to show at least one crater in Iran's Natanz. Now, we are shifting focus across to Natanz, and you can see that on your screens. How in Natanz, the nuclear enrichment site after the United States targeted the underground portion of this facility. A hole of around 5 meters, which is roughly 16 feet, could be seen in the images which had been put out. And you can see this on your screen as well. You can see the holes which have been seems like it had visible impact. You can see proper structures and roof here, and on the other hand, right after the attack from 16th of June to the 22nd of June, you can see this entire area having been destroyed. In fact, the hole that you can see could be seen in the images which are taken by the Planet Labs of PCB and Maxar Technologies on Sunday after the American strikes happened. In fact, the hole which sits directly over the underground portion of the site, which includes a centrifuge halls as well, which is why you have President Trump coming out and saying that it was complete decimation of the nuclear sites. Satellite images of Iran's Isfahan, which is the third nuclear technology center that we are discussing, was also captured by the Maxar technology. In fact, you have these Isfahan satellite images there on your screens as well. In fact, this shows how surface level damage was done to the site following the US strikes. But when this entire issue came up at the United States, the IAEA said that it's hard for us to know what is the extent of damage. We know that strikes have happened, but the extent of damage is not very clear right now. So the Air Force, meanwhile, has attacked 6 Iranian regime airfields in western and eastern as well as central Iran in an effort to deepen their air superiority. In fact, the strikes have damaged runways as well and underground busters, a refueling plane as well as F-14, F-5s as well as AH-1 aircraft is what we hear belonging to the Iranian regime have been destroyed. In fact, this is the detail which is now coming in right now. About 14 jets which have struck Iranian airfields. IDF has made this big claim as well, and as they attacked 6 air bases in Iran. Let me go across to Priyank, who's joining us with all the details. Well, Priyank, it appears that the attacks continue to happen. First of all, I hope you are safe. You are, of course, joining us live from Tel Aviv. We know that there has been the intensity of the conflict in the Middle East has really extended, but now visuals coming in, the posts coming in from the IDF that this is clearly not over.
Yes, Adi, we know it for the fact that Khamenei, Meghna, he is certainly 83 years old, and there's only few years left in his life. So certainly he would like to do something very dramatic for the end of his regime. He knows it for the fact that if all the powerful countries are against him, then certainly the kind of blast which has happened at the nuclear plant in Iran, it is clearly giving a picture that the US has certainly entered into war with a warning also that they should not intervene. So Khamenei will certainly try to do something very major before he's actually either eliminated or he's thrown off the power which he's holding right now. But on the other side, the IAF of the Israeli Defense Forces has made it very clear that they have hit on the western, eastern as the central command airfields in Iran, where they have done major damage to the airfield only, and also onto the runways, which are the satellite image which has been released by the IDF. So we are certainly looking into the situation where the Israelis are not going to bow down. On the other side, the Iranians are walking with a feeling of revenge. What they're going to do, we'll have to wait and watch for that.
Well, Priyank, you there on the ground, you there in Tel Aviv. Many have been saying that Iran is planning retaliation. In fact, you have Ayatollah Khamenei himself coming out and saying that this is going to be the end of Israel. So tell us, on the ground, what do you feel? What's the emotion like? Are they apprehensive that there may be a massive retaliation by Iran on Israel now?
Certainly, Meghna, people do feel like this because last year in the month of March, when there was an attack at the Iranian embassy in Syria, the Iranians blamed Israel for that, and 200 missiles were launched towards Israel. In the month of October also, when one of the strong leader who was a part of the defense forces of Iran was eliminated, there was another set of 150 missiles which were launched towards Israel. Later to that, post 7th October, we saw that small missiles were sent towards Israel. So the ballistic missile is certainly something on which people are worried about. Apart from small missiles, they know that they have an air defense system which can tackle that. But ballistic missiles are certainly something which is away from being controlled by the Israelis. But on one side, people also feel that Khamenei, he knows it for the fact that he only has fully few days, months or years left in his life. He will have to do something before end of his era, which started in the late 80s, to be called the supreme most leader of Iran before he actually dies. So that is certainly something which is certainly giving a feeling of revenge in the mind of Khamenei, for which he must have been planning how he will retaliate, whether he will try to attack the US bases or he will try to attack those US establishment in various other country, is certainly in the know of them only.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and see how Israel is going to respond. Of course, they are talking about complete annihilation. But now that Israel has also started destroying the air bases of Iran, it is going to be another escalation of the war. It's not just limited to nuke sites. Now it is air bases as well which are being taken out. Priyank earlier had in fact spoken to the leader of an opposition party in Israel, Shelley Tal-Meron. In fact, she says that all the parties in Israel today stand with the government, united in the campaign against Iran's nuclear program. Watch this.
Israel is in a state of war since October 7th, and the opposition parties are certainly in favor of the present strike which has happened towards the Iranian side. I'm joined by Member of Parliament from Jerusalem, Shelley. Thank you for talking to the Times Network. Ma'am, what is the opinion of the opposition party here in Israel regarding the bombing which happened towards Iranian side, knowing the fact that there have been so many hostages who are still there in the captivity of the Iran?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It's been 264 days since October 7th. We have 53 hostages who are still in Gaza, our brothers and sisters who are waiting to come back home. As you know, we had 250 hostages that were taken on October 7th. For the past week, we've been having this war with Iran. Let me tell you, nobody wanted a war with Iran. We don't even share a border with Iran. We have no issue with the Iranian people. The only issue that we have is with the Iranian regime, who want to eliminate the state of Israel. They are racing to have a nuclear weapon that will destroy the country of Israel, and also to having thousands of ballistic missiles that are threatening our population. And therefore, the state of Israel had to take action. And as you said, I'm a member of the opposition. So as you can imagine, I do have some criticism when it comes to this government. But when it comes to the Iranian war, I have no criticism. We're all one. We're very united in this goal of eliminating the possibility of having a nuclear Iran and having them have thousands of ballistic missiles that are threatening our population. Only 2 days ago, we had a missile that targeted our hospital down south, which created a lot of damage, and we have 24 Israelis that were killed already during this war, and we must protect our civilians. Therefore, this is a just war. We had no choice but to go to war with Iran.
On that.
Well, that, of course, was Shelley Tal-Meron. She is a parliamentarian of Israel, saying that there is going to be no compromise when it comes to Israel's stand, that there will be no nukes allowed for Iran. Well, we'll have to wait and see where this war is actually going to end. The escalation is all we've seen today. Well, we'll keep getting you these ground reports. Priyank continues to be there, getting us the very latest from Tel Aviv. But with that, a short break. Don't go anywhere.